Bitcoin is playing out very interestingly right now, and the next move, in my opinion, is very clear and obvious. So Bitcoin, of course, had a massive breakdown, support from this line here, which is also, look at this, the bottom of the bear flag. And yes, I mention it every time in my videos, and this is gonna be a recap video because not too much has happened, but for everyone who's new, super important to watch. Look at this, support here, support here, support here, support here. So essentially we've established that this level, 60,000, is the level to break. And once we break below that level, we are going to go and create lower lows. And usually Bitcoin creates lower lows in a bear market, right? It's normal in a bear market, we go down, and we have been in a bear market since October of last year, and we had an all-time high in 2026. Since then, we created one bear flag pattern. It created the flag, we went down, had a massive move to the downside in a very short period of time. And usually whenever Bitcoin moves down, it does so, or moves up, in a very short period of time. We have these exponential, very quick moves. And we had the same thing. We had a short position right here, pretty much exactly at the top. We shorted on this channel at $81.5 thousand, shorted all the way to like $65,000. Yes, we could have held a bit longer, but we held it to the bottom of right here instead of right here. But in trading, better to not take too much risk and take the profits with you. Now, right now we found the bottom, so we established that. What is happening for Bitcoin? Let's go on the 4 hourly and discuss it. So Bitcoin, after we found the bottom, has kind of created this symmetrical pattern. And the symmetrical pattern is neither necessarily bullish or bearish. We know that, for example, if we have an ascending wedge pattern whereby the price moves in this way to the top, it usually breaks to the downside. And if we have a descending wedge pattern whereby Bitcoin usually moves to the downside, we usually break to the upside, right? And this is a symmetrical wedge, sideways moving, and it's a continuation pattern. So the pattern moved to the upside, and this then usually suggests that we continue moving to the upside. The moment that we had to break, or the level that we had to break, was the previous high, and I've marked it for you guys right here. This is the line right here, and this is at the top. So $63,800. We had to break that. You can see we literally got rejected from this symmetrical wedge. We found support. We somewhat got rejected here and eventually got above that level. The moment we got above it, we want to see a bounce. So we want to see this level acting as support. And we can see that. We can see that it has acted as support. We went up, and right now, this exact level, $63,800, is the level to hold. Right? We're looking like we're trying to potentially hold, and we have to go up from here if we want to be reaching our target. And now, what is the target, you might ask? Well, the target is right here. It is this level right here, which has acted as previous kind of support and resistance. We had, yes, it's on a 4 hourly. In this day, we found some support here, but we eventually did not really hold the support. We went further down, and this level is all the way up to $67,700. And looking at the liquidation heat map, let me just reload the chart here. The liquidation heat map is telling us at which level do traders get liquidated on their positions. And I like to look at it on the 2 weekly chart. If I look at it on the 24-hour chart, which you just saw now, it is showing us a lot of data which is not that relevant. And if I now show you guys this, we can see that there's a lot of liquidity just above the current level, all the way to like $65,200. So this is acting as a target, as a magnet for Bitcoin. Bitcoin usually grabs that liquidity. So in the short term, we can see that most likely we go a bit higher, all the way to like $65,200. Let's go back here. $65,200 will bring us to pretty much the bottom of this wick. And I think we can potentially find support here. I mean, this is what I drew like 3-4 days ago, which was my prediction. We can update it right now. The target is still there. That's what I think can happen now. We find support, we go to the bottom here, maybe go a bit down, and then eventually fill this gap, right? This is what I think will happen. And let's keep it on the chart and see if our prediction continues and, materializes. But essentially we have a lot of liquidity here, and then $67,700. Look at the numbers. This is, yes, it's not too much liquidity, but there is liquidity right here. This is people who are shorting the market, and they will get liquidated once we reach back up to this level. And I'm considering to potentially open a low level short position here and ride this along the way down, and potentially even a bit further to the downside. And this will then be the final short position of this cycle, because usually a bear market lasts for 12 months. And have a look at this. We can see this in the last bear and bull markets, that the bull market, obviously when we go up, lasts for approximately 1,065 days, so approximately 3 years. And a bear market top to bottom, 365 days. Last time, 365 days. This time, most likely also 365 days. Yes, the time before that was 400 days, but approximately give or take 12 months, right? If this happens, this will bring us to October of 2026. I already said it. I think we should start buying a bit before that. We can't time the exact bottom, but if I go on the weekly, we can see that usually when Bitcoin bottoms, we don't have a bottom and immediately shoot up. We have some sort of consolidation. So let me go to the last two Bitcoin bottom cycles, and you can see right here that yes, we went to the bottom and then we kind of found some support here. We went a bit sideways. So this is good for us to know because we want to be buying somewhere there around the bottom. And looking at the price, basically, we go down, we have another move down, and then slowly we're bleeding down and potentially one final big capitulation event like we had also last cycle. And I think we're going to have something similar potentially this cycle. And we want to be buying in this final spot. And I'm going to be analyzing the charts every day for us to hopefully buy here. And if we buy there, I mean, if you bought there last cycle to the top, you would have made 700%. So that's a 6x gain. A 6x gain on the positions, right? If you just buy that in spot, that's also amazing. And actually, sorry, 7x gain. So if you buy that on spot, that's also amazing. And if you buy it on leverage, it's even more amazing. And that's what I want to be doing this cycle. Hopefully be benefiting tremendously from longing the bottoms with low leverage. And once we go down, if we go down further, adding to my long positions. Now back to Bitcoin. We set the target is obviously right here. And then eventually I expect us to go down. We have the SpaceX IPO. Once the hype comes down, we can see some bleeding in the markets and some money going back out of the markets. We mentioned the liquidity, and I want to mention this. So this is Bitcoin. In the bottom, we have the funding rates, and the funding rates are telling us if most people in the market are long or if they're short. So if they think the price goes up or if they think the price goes down. And if it's negative, it means that most people think the price goes down. We can see right here, there's a pattern. When we see negative price funding rates, well, more like very negative funding rates. So people are very much betting on shorts. For example, right here, people are very negative. They're betting that price goes down. Actually, price goes in the other direction. And this is when people get liquidated. If they're very shorting, their liquidation prices will be above the current price, and this will be hit, right? This is what we have right here. And right now we had a signal whereby we went short here on the 12 hourly. Last time this happened, this was a bottom signal. Now we have also slightly negative funding rates. It could be a bottom signal whereby we have another move to the upside. And usually the majority of traders are wrong. So quick summary, we have here this level to break above from. The next target is obviously this level here, $67,700. We can get rejected from there. We can, of course, also go a bit further to like $70,000, and that is this level right here. Like $70,000 is right here. So where basically we had the break of the bear flag pattern. Now, in 3 days, we have the next FOMC meeting. And this is when interest rates will be decided. And when the new federal chairman will decide on interest rates. Now there's a almost 99% likelihood that interest rates will remain at the current targets, which is between 3.5, look at this, to 3.75%. Now that is of course not good for the markets. Now if by any chance the federal chairman decides that for the remaining of 2026 interest rates will not be reduced, then I think this will be is obviously a strong negative indicator and a strong negative sign, and this could lead to us then potentially having the spark needed for us to be going down. All right, no interest rate increases, bad. So decreases, that's bad. No new money in the market. Now, for anyone, this is just a quick reminder that we are at the end of the cycles, right? We usually have these bull markets, we go up and down. And in the bull market, we have consolidation phases whereby we go down a bit. It looks like this is the end, but then we have another phase where we go up, and the same thing in a bear market. We go in phases, right? And I think the next phase is going to be happening soon. Finally, to add to this, Michael Saylor is still buying Bitcoin, and that's the right thing to do to dollar cost average Bitcoin over time, just as he is doing. Looking here at Bitcoin on the monthly, I just want to highlight also, if I put the RSI, that we are right now at these bottom levels. So historically, when we found a bottom for Bitcoin, we were at these levels, at these very oversold levels for Bitcoin. And we can see the RSI is slowly going down and down, and we create lower lows for the RSI, but we are approaching these lows. Most likely we will create a lower low than previously. We are not there yet, and we know that it's also not October yet, so most likely we're still going to go down a bit further. Finally, if we look at Bitcoin here on the weekly chart, I just want to show you guys that if I plot the Fibonacci extensions from the bottom to the top, we can see that the golden pocket lies right here at approximately between $58,000 to $54,000, and it's at the bottom of this consolidation phase. And that is the next target, I think, for us to be going to. And then eventually, if we break down from there, we'll probably go to this level of previous support and resistance, also potentially bring us to the 0.786 level, at worst case $40,000. But I think we can find a bottom somewhere in that region here, at the bottom of this wick or somewhere in this range. I can't predict you the exact numbers. I'd be a multimillionaire if I could, but I can predict with fairly reasonably the time in the market when we find a bottom, which is in October, because it has happened every time, right? And if it has happened every time, I don't see a reason that it should not happen every time. And you might think this guy's just talking bollocks. Well, if most people believe in this, then it will eventually come true. Because if everyone believes that the bottom will happen here, then everyone is going to start buying there, right? I'm going to be buying there. I'm going to be buying a bit before that. But if everyone starts buying in October, well, what happens? Of course, the price goes up. And that is very simple market psychology. And with that being said, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.